the biggest and foundational reasons why I think America is doomed as a society, as a country, as an entity is Americans' obsession with rich people. This is one of the most pronounced things that I have seen since moving back to this country. Americans love celebrities, they love rich people, billionaires, they love these influencers who are getting on here and basically flaunting their wealth in their face. And one of the craziest things I saw in regards to someone defending these types of influencers is saying that they're an inspiration. Because, yes, it makes complete sense that this class of people who are directly responsible for destroying our Earth, who prioritize the growth of their own pockets so much so that they would replace you with a robot in seconds, who lead these environmentally destructive livelihoods as winters become shorter and warmer and summers become more unbearable. It is absolutely crazy that people still feel this way about rich people. But in America, people literally make livelihoods off of following celebrity gossip. Rich people whose content solely focuses on being rich have millions of followers, millions of likes. And a lot of these people have an army of supporters willing to defend them till the death. Again, defending the class of people who are responsible for our misery, but who also clearly do not give a fuck about us. This is what's going on in the country. And I feel like it is so ingrained in the society right now, you literally cannot get away from celebrity gossip or knowing about certain people. And everyone is seemingly okay with it as well. But foundationally, it is one of the biggest reasons why this country will just not get better.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome
Ugh.
to episode 14 of the A&M podcast. I'm your host, Andre, and he's Michael, aka Left Independent, and we're coming to you from the ATP network. You can watch us on all major platforms: YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Twitch, and Twitter. And on the bottom of your screen, follow us, the ATP Network official Twitter account. The handle right there is at ATP Network 247. Like the video, guys, and also like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot in the algorithm. And we also almost to 1.4K subscribers on YouTube. So, thank you guys for watching us. So Mike, what's your thoughts on that video, man?
It's true. Every word of it is true, and I honestly don't know how the hell we're getting out of it because right now it looks like the world's going to hell in a handbasket because the United States and Israel don't want to release their stranglehold on the planet, and they're hell bent on taking all of us down with them when they go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man. Yeah, like you said, like we just like the rich people, the billionaires are the reason why we're in this fucked up situation as it is. I mean, like the amount of like Taylor Swift jet, like you know how much carbon emissions a jet releases into the air, like compared to a regular passenger jet. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
And people still worship these motherfuckers. I I just don't get it. I never really worshiped celebrities. I like celebrities, athletes for example, but I never like, oh they're so perfect. Oh this, nah, fuck that shit, man. I
yeah,
even
I
at a
know. I
young
mean,
age I was betting it.
yeah, I know. I was never a fan of LeBron James. He behaved like a little prima donna when he was in Cleveland.
Oh my
Uh,
god,
Disrespected us at every turn, then left to
he
find
left
greener
y'all, yeah,
pastures and came back briefly to
yeah,
get us a championship, then punked out again.
yeah. But hey though, man, being off topic,
I mean,
but at
I will
least,
respect him for starting a school for disadvantaged youth, but
yeah,
as far as his, uh, I think his talents on the court are overblown, and I mean, it's not that they're not real, but I think they're overhyped, kind of like the movie Titanic back in 1997. I was there for the hype, and when I
yeah,
finally got to see it, it was like, oh, this is it.
yeah, same, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
don't
true.
get me wrong, I liked it, but it didn't wow me.
Yeah, yeah, LeBron, yeah, he a great
So that's
player,
how
but
I look at LeBron James as
yeah,
a basketball player. He's good. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but he doesn't wow me like say Michael Jordan did or Charles Barkley
yeah,
or even
that's true,
Shaq in
that's
his
true.
prime. So,
Yeah,
but
you
but yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, though, yeah, LeBron, yeah, he a great player, but I mean, like, his fan base, man, it's his fans for me, man. Like, I just
Wilt
can't stand a
Chamberlain.
LeBron James fan. Oh my God, you
Wilt
know,
Chamberlain. You want to know how old I am? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
oh, you ain't that old, Mike. You ain't that old. Come on. Oh man.
Look. I was a kid when I saw Airplane 1 and 2, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in both of those movies.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I seen those
I
movies
watched him
before,
transition as a
but
small child from basketball to film and TV.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember Space Jam, Michael Jordan, and yeah, I'm giving out my age now, but yeah, um, yeah, man, yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's a crazy time to live in, man. So,
I'm old enough to remember when Dennis Rodman was famous for something other than basketball.
you going there? Oh my God.
Yes, I'm talking about Carmen Electra.
Oh shit. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, man. Hey, man, we need to make another episode talking about that. Like,
Yeah.
I'll put that one, on the in the vault. You know what I mean? Oh, now store it for the next episode.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, man, I don't even know what the fuck to begin at, Mike, with all the shit that been going on those last 2 weeks. I don't even know.
Well,
I,
we can start with the elephant in the room, which is the war that Israel decided to start against Iran and is now getting its ass pounded
oh yeah.
because it thought that Iran would just be a little bitch and not respond on the
Yeah.
level that it had assumed. So let's go ahead and call this up. This is from the account Monitor X. Now, I have no idea whether or not this is true. All right. There's a lot of fog of war stuff, a lot of misinformation, disinformation, rumors flying around. So I don't know if this is actually true. Okay. This is just one of the things that I've seen on the internet that's been flying for the last couple of days. But it says, and this is from 12:24 p.m. Eastern time this afternoon. It says on the 14th of June 2025, it says exclusive, Israel has reached out to Iran through the United Arab Emirates, urging Iran to return to negotiations with the United States and accept a nuclear deal with zero enrichment on Iranian soil. Iran has informed the regional nation, very likely the UAE, that it will not exchange messages with Israel at this stage, neither directly nor indirectly, and that Israel should not have started a war if it were not prepared to continue it. And he says this is from exclusive sources. Like I said, I have no idea if this
Yeah.
is going to be up and up. It's one of many rumors flying, uh, and I will happily admit that.
Yeah.
Like for example, that this image that he just showed not even a minute ago, saying Tel Aviv is in ruins, I doubt it.
Ah, no. Yeah, nah. Like
You know, so some
Iran
of this
targeted Tel Aviv
is
a little bit,
exaggerated.
but
So,
yeah,
so yeah, I mean, a lot of this is really just fog of war stuff and people lashing onto whatever bits of info they're hearing. I don't know what to believe. But
yeah,
let me show you something that did strike my interest because this is a sign that Iran may actually be serious. Let me see if I can call it up because I've been sharing a lot and it's not. Let's see now. This is what I get for sharing so many items in one day. So I have to scroll through everything and but basically one of the key terms you want to look out for is a word that showed up actually in. Actually, no. Let me see if I can. Okay, so yeah, let me see if I can call this up because this is this is interesting. It is the Israeli equivalent of the United States Pentagon. All right, and one of the accounts I follow on Twitter basically said, pay attention to this word, and it's basically the Israeli equivalent of the Pentagon. Because if you imagine, let's say, Canada or Mexico lobbing missiles at the United States and overwhelmed our own defenses and hit the Pentagon.
Yeah.
That's basically what took place in Tel Aviv last night. It's basically a sign that Iran is actually serious, that this is not just, lobbing some missiles and hoping Israel gets the message. This is a sign that Iran is basically done playing around.
Yeah. See, there was soft, I don't want to say it like this, but there was kind of soft on Israel for a bit, like saying, "Hey, keep fucking with us now." But Iran said it on the, I don't know if that's their official Twitter account, but Iran military, I think that's the name of it. They said that they're gonna come with a vengeance, and so far, man, they, not succeed, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And here it is. I found it. All right. So Iran's strike on the Kiryat, Israel's Pentagon, brings the Middle East to a boil. Importance of IDF headquarters explained. So Iran launched Operation True Promise 3 on 13th of June against Israel, sending a barrage of missiles and drones in retaliation against the latter's airstrikes, which hit key military and nuclear installations of the former. Iran specifically targeted Ha-Kiryat, or the Kiryat compound, the campus in Hebrew, in central Tel Aviv, which is Israel's premier military headquarters. The counterstrike followed a few hours after Tehran's top military leadership. It's kind of out. It's the jury's still out as to whether or not these were top military leaders or replaceable, because Iran has already replaced these people. So this was not a decapitation strike. It was meant to be, but it wasn't, because Israel assumes that if you just cut off the head, then the body will fall, and it doesn't think in terms of, oh, wait a minute, Iran's got its Revolutionary Guard, its entire military, to where, like, even if you take out a top general, there's always like any number of people who are able and willing to take that person's place.
Right.
So they're not nearly as irreplaceable as Israel and the United States seem to think. That's very backward and outdated thinking. And also one of the reasons why Iran has lasted as long as it has, because we keep underestimating the discipline here. So, but basically, it says the attack on the Kiryat in the heart of Tel Aviv, and which serves as the nerve center of Israel's defense operations, is a significant escalation in the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict and carries both strategic and symbolic weight. So what is the Kiryat? Well, it's basically often described as Israel's Pentagon. It's located in the heart of Tel Aviv and houses the IOF General Staff, the Ministry of Defense, and key military command and intelligence facilities. Serving as the headquarters of the IOF since 1948, Ha-Kiryat also houses Camp Rabin, a major IOF base named after former Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, who, by the way, was assassinated by someone loyal to Benjamin Netanyahu for the Oslo Accords, which basically promised to create a Palestinian state alongside Israel, and signed with Yasser Arafat. So, the irony here is rather thick. So the military compound includes landmark structures such as Marganit and Matkal towers, which coordinate military planning, intelligence gathering, and operational command. So the Kiryat is one of the most sensitive and heavily guarded sites in Israel, essential for national security and military coordination. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst described the attack on the Kiryat, calling it Israel's Pentagon. While reporting during the Iranian missile attack, Yingst said the Iranians have responded with 3 waves of ballistic missiles. This is Israel's version of the Pentagon, the Kiryat, and the building on this compound was just hit. Now, I don't know the extent of the damage, but this is a sign that Iran is not playing around.
Oh, yeah.
It can hit and potentially cripple Israel's ability to not only defend itself, but to coordinate any kind of military response. Now, it does have underground bunkers that it has situated underneath hospitals because, unlike Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, which Israel projects all of its crimes and other shit onto, Israel does actually locate its military and intelligence operations underneath civilian infrastructure and within civilian infrastructure. So, that is basically so Israel can say when an enemy attacks military installations, oh, they hit civilian targets. No. You put the military target within the civilian area, which is basically what Ukraine's been doing throughout the war, taking over hospitals and civil buildings, and then converting them into military bases of operation.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is something that shows that Iran may actually not be playing around this time.
No. Hey, to be honest with you, I didn't expect them to. I think the first time, I guess they're like, like I said, like, hey, we can do more, keep fucking with us. And, it's kind of like what they saying, damn, what that analogy they always say,
Fuck around, find out.
Yeah, but it's something else. Poke the bear. Israel poked the bear, and now they getting kind of burned. So
kick the hornet's nest.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting though, because Marco Rubio, when Israel took out the generals and the nuclear scientists on Thursday, Marco Rubio, who's the Secretary of State and the acting National Security Advisor, on top of other hats that he's being forced to wear because Trump apparently either can't keep or can't hire people to replace these important positions because Muskrat demanded that they be fired and replaced with people loyal to him. And that's obviously not happening for reasons that we'll go into. But basically, Rubio said, the United States was not involved in this attack. We demand that Iran not target U.S. interests or personnel in its retaliation.
Right.
Are we back? All right. So, yeah, sorry, my internet keeps cutting out. But yeah, so basically, Rubio, like I was saying, he denied that the U.S. was involved and warned Iran not to target U.S. personnel or interests in its retaliation. So then Caligula Drumpf, just hours later, admits to the New York Post, Rupert Murdoch's tabloid rag in New York, that, not only was the United States heavily involved, but he personally knew and signed off on it. Basically exposing Rubio for the liar he is.
Yeah.
But Rubio was trying to do damage control.
Yeah.
And Rubio is a neocon, all right? He is fully supportive of Israel, no matter what. But even Rubio understands that if the United States enters the war on behalf of Israel to try and take down Iran, it's going to get a bloody nose.
Yeah.
Iran is not Iraq circa 2003.
Yeah.
Iraq circa 2003 had been crippled by 12 years of sanctions and disarmament.
Yeah.
It went from having the 6th largest standing army in the world to having practically nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So Iran is not that.
Yeah. I mean,
it may not
any
have
country.
nukes. but
Yeah,
I think it should get nukes as a
they need
deterrent.
to.
But here's the thing: even if it doesn't get nukes, it's already proven that its air defense and attack systems are more than a match for Israel and the United States. It can close down the Strait of Hormuz, which is basically this body of water leading from the from the Persian Gulf to the Pacific Ocean,
Hmm.
which is vital for getting crude oil out of the region. Because if you try to transport crude over land, well, pipelines are notoriously prone to leaking and uh, being blown up,
Right.
or just disintegrating because oil companies don't want to maintain them. Uh, and so they're prone to leaks and spills and sabotage. Uh, traveling it, transporting it by vehicle overland is also incredibly difficult because if you take oil tanker trucks over roads, well, first of all, those roads have to be well maintained, and
They're
uh,
not. We know. If you know, you know.
if you're going over mountainous terrain
Yeah.
or through inclement weather, all
Hmm.
that has to be taken into logistics of transporting over. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
All right, all right, all right. So it's just my camera apparently. So yeah, yeah. I do apologize. I'm having internet issues this
It's
weekend.
fine.
But yeah, and you know what? I just restarted my computer to install updates as well. So I was hoping that would actually fix something, but apparently not. But oh, there I am. All right. So basically, you have to consider the logistics of transporting crude oil over land because the amount of crude oil that you can fit into a oil tanker like a ship,
Right.
that's quite a lot, more than you're going to be able to transport it in a single oil truck. So you would need entire fleets and have to guard them and take them through potentially hostile territory over mountainous or and other rough terrain in potentially inclement weather. We're heading into summer on a planet that is heating up to points where parts of the planet are reaching in excess of 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Hmm. Yeah. Like
Try
yeah.
transporting flammable materials like crude oil over land in that hot condition.
Really, it's in the Southwest United
Yeah.
States.
So you've got to be able to get all that overland
Hmm.
to ports that can take on all that oil, then transfer it to tanker ships that can navigate through friendly waters. I mean, the United States really has not considered the logistics of this at all. If Iran shuts down the Strait of Hormuz, the United States Navy is not going to open it back up. It's not going to be able to break the blockade
Right. Right.
because
That's true.
Iran is about 2,000 kilometers from Israel, and it's able to hit Tel Aviv with some rather astounding precision. So,
Yeah.
what do you think it's going to do to a fleet try to enter into the Persian Gulf to try and open it up for
It's gonna
oil shipment?
it's gonna hit them with
It's going to
precision.
the bottom of the sea.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what's gonna happen. Oh yeah.
And oddly enough, Russia and China have issued some rather strong condemnations of Israel over this. That suggests that they may be wising up to just how fucked the situation is. Because this is my opinion. Take it if you will. But China and Russia cannot afford to stand idly by and watch this play out and not take sides.
Right.
They're going to have
I
to support
intervene.
Iran and make sure that it doesn't fall. Because
Right.
Syria already fell under their watch. if a BRICS member state, because Iran is part of BRICS, if a BRICS member state falls to the United States and Israel, say goodbye to any new world order of multipolarity. Because if the other great powers can't protect members of their own order from a war of aggression by the United States and its vassals, then what good is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The global South is watching this, and it wants Russia and China to show that they are willing and able to defend their allies.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think mostly China will have to do it because Russia is currently, in a
Yeah,
situation with
well,
Ukraine right
Russia
now. Yeah.
is, yes, fighting the war in Ukraine, but Ukraine is on its last legs, basically.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
actually, frankly, surprised that it's lasted this long. I think the
That's
only
true
reason
too.
it's still going is because the strategy, really from the beginning, was a war of attrition to grind down Ukraine's ability to fight, and that can take
Right.
years.
Right.
And the idea behind that is basically to wear down the military ability to fight. Because if you don't have the equipment or the soldiers to fight, you're done.
Yeah.
But it's not for nothing that U.S. politicians have said, we're going to fight Russia to the last dead Ukrainian. So
Yeah.
Russia is going to have to make up its mind. Look, I know you don't want to sacrifice too many soldiers. No nation should. But the longer the war in Ukraine drags on, uh, the the more chances that you will be bled dry.
Right.
So I think Ukraine is going to have to be forced to surrender before the year is out, because
Yeah.
the United States is trying to start a war with China.
Yeah.
Despite what people are saying, I don't think the neocons in Washington really want, at least the current crop of neocons, I should say, that the Trump faction of neocons, the ones who want to take out
Yeah.
China first and foremost. I don't think they actually wanted this war with Iran just yet. I think,
They wanted China first.
they wanted to focus on China, and you can't do that
Mhm.
if you have to support Ukraine and Israel in proxy wars against Russia and Iran simultaneously. Now, Pete
Yeah.
Hegseth is a fucking idiot and thinks that you can do all these at once. But none of these motherfuckers have actually even. I mean, none of these
Oh my God.
motherfuckers even know how to fucking read, much less read the works of Sun Tzu. Okay, because there's a reason why Sun Tzu's writings are still read over 2,000 years after his death. It's because he
Right.
knew what he was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, you can and should update to account for modern conditions and situations, but the basics are still the same. If you're fighting a multi-front war and you don't have the resources to do it, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And the United States is fighting proxy wars on multiple fronts. In Ukraine,
Ukraine,
it's trying to
Israel,
open one up in Taiwan.
Taiwan.
It's
Yeah.
already fighting a proxy war through Israel against the
Israel.
entire Middle East.
3. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah,
could.
it's
Yeah.
trying to
You could.
destroy what's left of Palestine. It's trying to. It
Yeah.
already took out Syria. It's going to have to help Israel maintain control over Syria. And
Yeah.
now and now Israel is trying to take out Iran. Which, if this becomes a war of attrition, Israel is screwed. Because how many people are in Israel right now? 10 million. How many people
Oh
are in
shit.
Iran? 90 million. Do
Oh
the math.
shit. Man, that.
And that
Man.
Iron Dome is paper
It,
mache.
yeah.
That was
Imagine
proven
it.
last year.
But imagine Israel without the United States support, bro. Like there'll literally be like a piece of paper in thin air. just just
Yeah,
imagine,
I
like,
mean,
oh my
yeah,
god, bro.
and imagine if Canada or Mexico lobbed missiles and hit the Pentagon, all right,
Mm-hmm.
and did serious damage to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing
Sure.
with Iran hitting the Kyria, because uh, And of course, Israel, like the United States, has other centers that it can coordinate military activities from. I mean, we have Cheyenne Mountain over here in the United States and other locations, but just a
Yeah,
psychological blow
yeah,
from knowing that supposedly our most secure military command center is actually vulnerable.
yeah.
Think what happened on 9/11/2001.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, needless to say, this is basically Israel fucking around and finding out. And if it is true that it's trying to coordinate some kind of end to this because it realized it stepped in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you said, man, with that source you posted earlier. Yeah, I want more. I guess he had to like tweet it on the immunity or some shit. But again, like yeah, need more like proof. I mean, that to
Yeah,
me that'd be shocking. I'm like, damn, they realized that. Oh shit, like Iran ain't bullshitting. Like motherfucker, we told you. Oh man,
yeah, and this is what really uh, makes me laugh, morbidly laugh. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. Um, but
oh,
Netanyahu is allegedly in Greece right now.
what a punk
Yeah,
ass motherfucker, man.
Marvin Demon said he went to some building in Greece with Hebrew writing on it to make it look like he's still in Israel. But apparently, word is that Netanyahu immediately fled to Greece just as the rockets were, uh, just as the missiles were hitting. So
Damn the
he's
mother.
not. So if it's true, and Netanyahu isn't even in Israel, but he fucked off to Greece
Oh my god, bro.
and left his country to be bombarded by Iran while he pretends to coordinate shit.
That motherfucker scared. He's scared. He said, I gotta get the fuck up out of here. Iran ain't bullshit. Oh
Yeah,
man. Oh, I wish some Iran ops or something. Nah, man, I gotta watch myself on
yeah,
YouTube. But if you know, you know. Yeah.
yeah. And Marvin is saying, I didn't expect this to get so big. All I know is he went to Greece. Maybe this video was up there, and maybe this was pre-recorded, as Israel has been known to do with these kinds of videos. Um, but and like I said, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation and confusion
Right.
uh,
Right.
going on right now. So, here's a posting. We're receiving reports that Netanyahu has left Israel and is hiding in one of the UK's or US's military bases in the region. Uh, so, who knows where he is?
Right. Right.
But if
Yeah.
Netanyahu isn't actually in Israel, that means he abandoned his own country,
Yeah.
his
That
adopted
shows you.
country, because he's originally from Poland, by the way. He's
Yeah,
not
I know.
actually Jewish. I mean, he's
Eh, oh,
Jewish in religion, but he's not actually Hebrew.
he
He's
changed
Polish.
his name too. He changed his
Yeah,
last name too. I forgot.
yeah.
I forgot
To
what it
try
was.
and
Yeah.
yeah, this is what happens when people started migrating from Europe into what is now Israel in 1948. They adopted Hebrew-sounding names to try
Yeah.
and create an artificial tie to the land because these are not actually Hebrews. Like they're not actually
No.
Semitic Jews. They're
Right.
Ashkenazi Jews.
Right.
And if you know anything about that, basically Ashkenazi Jews are European Jews. They're the descendants of diaspora Jews who had long since, even in since Roman times, who had long since left Israel to settle other parts of the empire because Judea back then was kind of a backwater and also constantly trying to rise up and rebel, and eventually got crushed and scattered to the four winds in AD 70 because Rome got sick of Judea's bullshit, basically, and the modern day Palestinians are descendants of the Canaanites who were already living in the region when the Israelites conquered the region. But they're also descendants of the Judeans who never actually left because they weren't stupid enough to revolt. Also the Samaritan Jews who were in the who basically in what's now northern Israel, and are not considered true Israelites because of whatever. But then, of course, there were Hellenistic Jews from what's now parts of Syria, which was after the 70s AD renamed to Syria, Palestine. But there were basically Judean Jews in the region who never left, and so their descendants are the Palestinians. And these are people whose ancestors spoke Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, maybe some Latin, but primarily Aramaic and Greek. But but the European Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, they're not a Semitic people. Palestinians are the Semitic people. They're just they're and there are Semitic Jews whose ancestors never left what ancient Judea and what's now Israel. They never left. In fact, actually, a couple got shot by a white Israeli, a European Israeli, in Florida because he thought that they were Palestinians. Technically, they are in the strictest sense, but they're Palestinian Jews, Israeli Jews.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
But they looked Arab, so yeah. And so you get this dynamic where people like Netanyahu who have no ties to the region, they just make up names to make it sound like they're from the region.
Right.
But at this point, Israel really does need to cease to exist. Not through genocide, obviously, but through relocation.
Right.
Send them back to freaking Europe. Send them back to Poland. Send them back to Ukraine. Send them back to Germany and
Germany, France,
Switzerland, and Sweden, and wherever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Send them back.
Exactly.
They forfeited any and all remaining pretenses of any right they had to the region.
Right. Right.
I mean, they never had any right to it, but at this point, you're committing genocide against the indigenous population.
Yeah.
And waging wars against neighboring countries, which is creating instability of the sort that the United States doesn't want. Because while the United States does thrive on regional instability in the Middle East, using Israel to do it, but it wants a kind of instability that prevents the larger Arab world from uniting and attacking and throwing out the United States and its lackeys.
Right.
This is the kind of instability that can actually lead to that outcome.
Yeah.
So I think Netanyahu is probably on the outs with Trump, but Trump is so wedded to Israel as a whole, partly through his family connections. His son-in-law is an Israeli, or self-styled Jared Kushner. I don't know if he's an Israeli citizen, but he certainly is a big supporter of Israel. Miriam Adelson, the widow of Sheldon Adelson, who was a big Trump supporter, is a big time backer of Trump. So it's not like Trump has no desire politically or financially to end support for Israel, but I think he is tired of Netanyahu, which is why Rubio, I think, also is tired of Netanyahu and thinks, it would be better if he was gone.
Right.
But Rubio, I think, is also one of the neocons, one of the few who actually have a glimmer of a working brain cell in his otherwise empty head.
Damn, that's a sad compliment, Mike.
And actually realizes that look, we cannot afford to be dragged into this directly because that would fuck up our plans to destroy China, and we don't want that. Yeah. So, but Trump, of course, could not keep his big mouth shut, and so now Iran understands. I mean, now Russia, China, Iran, that they all have undeniable proof that yes, the United States was in fact intimately involved in this attack.
Yes.
and that Trump
Oh yeah.
himself was in on it. Now, Jamarl Thomas on his show last week, he had some guy named Malouf on who is convinced that Trump is completely in the dark about a lot of shit that's going on, and that his advisors aren't telling him stuff, which actually is not without precedent. I mean, George W. Bush, I call him the shrub, but the shrub was famously uninterested in actually governing. That's why you have people like Dick Cheney who are actually running the show, and Bill Clinton was basically the PR guy for his regime, although he did sign off on a lot more than I think he's given credit for. But Al Gore was really the one calling the shots in terms of foreign policy, whereas Clinton was more focused on domestic policy, which was to deregulate everything.
Yeah,
And then
Clinton was yeah.
Obama was really kind of the last executive who was really even remotely in charge of his own regime.
Right.
Because he was intimately involved and signed off on everything. Biden never had the brains to do much on his own, except try to profit off of stuff that Obama did. And by the time Biden got into the White House as the top dog, he was too senile to even remember where or who he was. So he wasn't even in charge. So nobody actually told him shit. Or if they did, he forgot it within 5 seconds because he was too busy wandering off to sniff some girl's hair. Or change his diaper. But Trump, again, he strikes me as being the guy who's largely uninterested, but I don't think he's as uninterested as people prefer to believe. John Kiriakou, floated the idea that Trump might not be completely in on everything that's going on, and I have to say, Malouf is a liar and an idiot because he's the one saying, "Oh, the United States had open borders during the Biden regime." Despite that, Biden deported far more immigrants than Trump did.
Exactly. What the? Yeah.
It actually shut down the border.
Yeah, Title 42.
But yeah,
Trump
so Obama was a deporter in chief for 8 years. I mean, it's like
built the cages.
So this guy's an idiot and a liar. But Kiriakou is not an idiot or a liar.
Right.
But I do think that he's wrong. I think Trump's boasting. He can't help himself because he has to try and get some kind of victory, any kind of public relations victory he can. His immigration policy is not as successful as he would like to believe it is, because he's actually getting pushback now. Whereas we weren't Biden and Obama didn't get pushback when they doubled down on Bush's immigration policy. They were able to get away with it because they kept it under wraps.
Under wraps, yeah.
The media wasn't reporting it on the brutality much. So, Trump is too in your face and vulgar about it, which is why he's getting all this pushback. But he lost the trade war with China. He lost big on tariffs. He was not able to bring an end to the war in Ukraine like he wanted, because he thought he could fool Russia with another Minsk-style agreement where Russia would pause the war and then the United States would have to rearm Ukraine for future hostilities once China was supposedly annihilated. That was always a fantasy. And now the regime's plans for a war against China have been thwarted because now the United States has to devote time to bailing Israel out for its war against Iran.
Yeah.
And China still is not exporting rare earth minerals to the United States. China has the United States and Israel by the balls. And it knows it. And we know it.
Yep.
Because without those rare earth minerals, because whatever minerals the United States has, and we do have natural resources, we haven't used them all up yet.
Right.
But whatever resources we have, we don't have the ability to extract it because we
don't have the equipment.
We let that equipment degrade and fall into disuse and disrepair because we focused on getting it from other countries.
Right.
So we don't have the ability to extract it the way we did before. We don't have the ability to refine it. We don't have the manufacturing base to build the weapons of war at scale the way Russia and China have been and Iran has been or even Yemen has been. Wherever it's getting its weapons, a lot of it's improvised, some of it's homemade, some of it's imported from places like China, Iran, uh, Russia. But they're able to replenish their stocks far more quickly than we can. It takes years to build up the infrastructure needed to extract and refine raw materials. It takes years to build the weapons needed to wage a proper war. We're already years behind.
Yeah.
We cannot
Yeah.
replace our weapons and vehicles and ammunition and computer systems and the components that make up computer systems. We cannot replenish that fast enough to keep up with what's going on.
Right.
So this war that Israel decided to launch because Netanyahu is trying to salvage his own worthless career. Because remember, he's been under investigation for corruption in Israel for years now, and he's at the point where he can't hold off the legal process if he is no longer prime minister. He's basically fucked. He'll spend the rest of his days in prison.
Right.
So, so the only reason he's waging war against Iran now is because he's not been able to complete the genocide of Palestinians.
Right.
He's not been able to destroy Lebanon. He's not been able to destroy it and open up the Red Sea shipping lanes. Every time he says, yeah, we're going to deal a crushing blow to our enemies so that they'll never dare attack us again, and they won't have the ability to attack us again. And then guess what? They get a retaliatory strike, which demonstrates that Netanyahu can't keep Israel safe.
Yeah.
In fact, just before Israel started this war on Thursday, the Israeli Knesset was probably going to end up being dissolved because the ruling coalition over there was collapsing. Netanyahu can't hold it together. He's got people who are they're not does by any stretch, but they're a bit more pragmatic in realizing you have to pick your battles and pick which fight you're going to focus on. And then you've got people like Ben Gvir and other hawks who want to just go full Holocaust mode.
Right.
Nuke Iran, nuke Lebanon, nuke Yemen, nuke Syria, nuke Gaza and the West Bank. Never mind that the radioactive fallout.
Yeah, if you knew God, that's what I'm saying.
But they basically want the final solution and they want it now.
Jesus Christ.
So, so basically it's, the situation in Israel, much like the United States and much of Europe, is between Mussolini and Hitler.
Oh God, yeah.
And Hitler is winning basically right now. But so really the Israeli government is holding it's held together with popsicle sticks and glue, and the glue is disintegrating.
Yeah.
And the popsicle sticks are on fire.
Yeah.
So if Netanyahu is no longer prime minister, he can't stay out of prison. So that's why he started this war against Iran, because he needs some kind of victory.
Yeah. He knows his days is running out. I think Israel alone is
done. And Iran, thank God, has shown that it is actually willing to fight when it needs to. But there's also speculation that the generals who were killed in this latest attack, these were generals that Iran might actually have put into a position where they could be taken out. And again, I have no way of confirming this. All right, I'm only hearing like second or third hand suppositions from people who are more expert than I am. But the basic consensus among some professional pundits is that these generals were the type that Iran would rather not have had remain in power or alive, because they were content to remain with the old failing method of operating through proxies and being really rather too cautious in avoiding conflict with Israel. So that means operating through Hezbollah, through Hamas, through the Houthis, although there's really no evidence that the Houthis were operating under Iranian orders to try and stop the genocide by blocking Red Sea shipping. And Hezbollah really has never been fully under the control of Tehran either. So, and Hamas really is not under control of Iran because
Right.
there are two different types of Islam. So, Iran's influence over these groups is really not as much as Israel would like us to think. But even so, that there has been some support, and so the people who are being appointed to replace the dead generals, you're going to want to take a look at them, because if they're the type who are saying, "Look, we need to take Israel directly, no more kidding around, no more trying to make peace with the West. This is a war for Iran's very existence as a nation, because look what happened to Syria." Then yeah, I think that will determine how this war is going to go.
Right. Exactly.
And personally, I hope that that's the case, because Iran really does need to stop playing around and deal a death blow to Israel's military capabilities.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like you said, like I said, strike while the match is hot.
Yeah,
Yeah. You got to move
yeah,
them
and
now. Like,
it appears to be doing that. I mean, it's been
tick for tat shit. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, you take out its ability to. I mean, there's also reports coming in that some of Israel's nuclear facilities have been hit, and that there are radiation leaks coming out.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is not good.
Yeah.
So Iran's nuclear facilities are safely underground, and you would have to use a kind of bunker busting nukes that would destroy them. But then again, if you nuke Iran, well, those missiles are going to take time to get there, and Iran's going to use that time to launch everything it has and take Israel out.
Yeah.
So don't think that this is going to be Israel's going to nuke Iran anytime soon. I don't think so.
Nah.
I'm not saying that it won't. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
it's not inclined, because it is inclined,
Yeah.
and it might very well decide to, look, if we can't win this war, then no one's going to win it.
Yeah.
But I think if Israel does try to launch nukes at this point, Iran's going to launch everything it has and take Israel down with it, and nobody in the West wants that.
Yeah. Because Israel's gonna look like Gaza. Not trying to be
Yeah.
funny, but yeah, like
Well, parts of Tel Aviv
yeah,
already do, if you believe
yeah,
what's being posted on Twitter. Like
yeah.
I said,
Based on Twitter, yeah, I
yeah,
doubt it, but yeah, I give.
but but also reports are that Israel is also threatening to arrest anyone sharing, uh, it's threatening to arrest its own citizens if they release video footage of Iranian strikes hitting their targets, because they're
Well,
desperate to make it look like Israel's Iron Dome uh,
oh Lord,
is defending more than it really is, and the idea that Israel
oh
might
wow,
actually be seen as being vulnerable, because Middle East politics are kind of funny this way. It's because, and it has to do with the reason why Saddam Hussein didn't just say, "Look, we are actually disarmed." Here, okay, open it, and why it waited so long to actually open up its facilities to inspections. It's because it was already disarmed, but it had to make the rest of the region guess as to whether or not it was truly and fully disarmed, because otherwise they would have smelled weakness, and Iraq's enemies would have moved in for the kill. And that's the kind of thing that Israel is terrified of, is looking so vulnerable that its enemies will basically say, okay, you know what, now's the time to go in.
exactly. Exactly.
So Israel cannot afford to look weak. So if it is threatening to arrest its own citizens for posting videos of Iran hitting its targets, yeah, that's a sign that they're panicking.
Yeah.
Israel cannot last in a war of attrition. Okay, it's too
Yeah.
used to slaughtering helpless women and children.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
cannot take on an actual opponent that is capable of fighting back. Okay, the Israeli
Yeah.
military is made up of sniveling little bitches, cowards, each and every one of them. You know, they're all tough when they've got their guns and their U.S. Warplanes and bombs and all that shit, and blowing up
Oh,
helpless
bulldozers.
civilians and children, and
Yeah.
yeah, and using bulldozers to run over helpless activists.
Yeah.
But if you put them up against a real military threat, I mean, the reason why its invasion of Lebanon failed last year was because when they went up against the Lebanese militias, that they ended up folding like sheep launchers because they weren't expecting people who could actually fight. And
Yeah.
Hezbollah, whether or not you like it, can actually fight.
Exactly. Back to the trained militia.
Yeah,
The
Lebanon
the
doesn't have
idea.
much of a standing army. Hezbollah is
Yeah.
basically militia.
Yeah.
So Hezbollah had to train how to fight. When Israel launched its invasion of Lebanon in, what was it, 2006, it got repelled
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the same reason, because Israeli soldiers are little bitches.
Yeah.
They can't go up against real soldiers.
Yeah.
They're not trained for it. They're not inclined to it.
Yeah.
So, it's one thing, to take out a 5-month-old and call it Hamas and claim that you scored a victory against a terrorist. But you know what? A 5-month-old who can't even walk, it's not the same as a battle hardened 20 or 30 something
30-some-year-old. Yeah.
who is defending
Yeah.
his or her homeland in
Yeah.
an existential war. Because that's what this is. It's a war for the survival of Lebanon, Iran, Syria. I mean, Syria is already lost.
Syria done. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it
They've been
fell
done. Yeah.
to Al Qaeda and ISIS. Uh, and the thing is, China and Russia let it fall, and they really shouldn't have.
Yeah.
All right, it should never have been left up to Bashar al-Assad, and I don't like the guy personally. He was a brutal authoritarian, and Syrians may not have been sorry to see him go, but he was the only thing keeping Syria from falling apart.
Yeah. Right.
And if he couldn't do it, then that's a problem, because Syria is now being used as a forwarding position to attack Iran because they do share a border. And the Israeli drones and missiles that hit Iran on Thursday, those came either from secret locations within Iran, just over the Syrian border, or from close to the Iranian border from within Syria. But in either case, Syria definitely was the route through which Israel is going to try and go to take out Iran. But the problem here is you're not going to get soldiers through Syria, because Jolani, as much of Israel's bitch as he is, he doesn't control ISIS or Al Qaeda nearly as much as he pretends to. And there's still a lot of people in Syria who are dead set against letting Israel or its forces anywhere near the country.
Yeah.
So while Jelani and his thugs might actually try and protect the columns of soldiers from going in, whether they're from Israel or the United States, those armies are not going to get through unscathed.
Yeah.
And they sure as fuck
Oh
not going to
man.
go through Lebanon
Oh shit. Yeah. So.
or
So
Yemen,
yeah,
for
man.
that matter.
Yeah.
The United States had to retreat from the Red Sea because Yemen showed that it can sink American warships, or if not sink them, then do enough damage that they're in danger of sinking. So, how the fuck are you going to get into defend Israel if you can't get through the Red Sea, if you can't get through the Persian Gulf, because the Strait of Hormuz has been closed off.
Exactly.
You're going to have to deliver through other routes through Europe
You have to go to Europe, yeah, and
and
that's
North
gonna take
Africa.
longer. Yeah, North Africa. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and that's
And
gonna
are
take
you sure you're
longer,
going to get through
more
Egypt?
resources. Oh hell no, they don't get to Egypt. That's how they get there. Yeah.
Egypt may not.
It's-
Egypt may not be a lackey of the United States or Israel, but it's. I mean, it may not be overly hostile, but it's not a
yeah,
lackey either.
yeah,
So it's a situation where the United States is going to have a hell of a time trying to back Israel up, because not only has a lot of its older stock been depleted, being sent over to Ukraine, which basically means that and Europe can't send aid to Israel either, because it all went to Ukraine. It all went to Ukraine. In order to support Israel in this war against Iran, they're going to have to dip into the armaments and the heavy vehicles, the missiles, the guns, all of that. That's going to have to come out of their regular arsenals that they need for their own country's defenses.
yep, yep.
Now, the United States has plenty of weapons. It hasn't exhausted, but our regular arsenal, it's now behind that of Russia and China.
Oh shit.
The
Yeah, yeah. That's
F-35
it.
is a
That's it.
flying hunk of junk.
My God.
Its F-16s are showing their age. Its F-18s are showing their age. Its fleet is showing its age.
Yeah.
And because COVID has been allowed to run uncontrolled, we can't get
Military.
enough people to staff our vessels.
Yeah, with a 75% staff military, yeah, of course, a lot of shit
Yeah,
is going to be under.
yeah, 25% of
performed.
the United States military is too sick from COVID to be able to function. The United Kingdom is having the same problem. They can't find people to man its warships because they've let COVID rip.
Yeah, yeah,
And beyond that, nobody wants to go and die for Israel or Ukraine for that matter. That's why they've been using proxies.
yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm being called, so I'm going to have to
All
wrap
right,
this up.
all right, Mike. All right, guys, that wraps up episode 14 of the A&M podcast. Before you go, Mike, any last thoughts?
Thoughts and prayers with the people of Palestine and Iran.
Yeah, same here, man.
I'm out of jokes because there's something funny about this.
It's not. Yeah, yeah. You're right, man. I hope we don't get into World War III, but you never know. So,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
yeah. All right, guys. Be sure to subscribe to the ATP Network and also the A&M podcast too. All right, Mike. See you next week, man.
All right, good night and good luck.